Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the debate night from wherever you are joining us. This is your host, Okoth Opondo, the host of the debate night, the show that comes to you every single Thursday, 8:30 to 9:30, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. East African time, right from Nairobi, here at our office in the Kamau Voices. And what we aim at doing every Thursday when we come to you live, it is about bringing some of the best brains across the region and across the country. That is the Republic of Kenya. And of course, across the region of East Africa, all that we are doing is bringing some of the best debaters to take you through different topics that we present to you. Thank you so much for always following our shows live on Facebook and on YouTube, all named Kamau Voices. You can keep on checking and following the show live once we are live, and even when we're done with the session, and keep on with the great conversation. Tonight, having a very interesting motion of discussion here, that Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are the greatest cure, or the greatest way, or the best solution, or the best ways to address unemployment, or the best way to address joblessness in our country today. The speakers here have been briefed very well about the debating format. They've been informed of what is expected of them, and each team has two speakers. Just to confirm that in the proposing team, we have Vugutsa, who is a student at the Nairobi University studying journalism and mass communication, and formerly from the Pangani Girls. Then also on the proposing side, we have Kelvin Kamau, a student of law, Nairobi University, formerly Kagumo High School. Then on the opposing side, we have Eugene Kwizera, who is a student at ALU, that is the African Leadership University, Kigali campus in Rwanda, formerly from Stare Boys Center. And also on the opposing side, we have Lord Luchiri, Joe Were, formerly from the Kakamega High School. The Kakamega School or Kakamega High School, I hope we understand each other on this one. But what is important that tonight the debate is not just the normal one. Here we are bringing a team of people who have been, let me say, literally looking for each other. In Kiswahili or in Sheng would say wamekuwa kitafutana. But today on the panel, we give them an opportunity to meet and battle out on this topic. So every speaker, as stated earlier, has a minute each to introduce his or herself. And straight away, we start with the proposing team. First speaker proposing team. Is it Vugutsa? Yes, Vugutsa, your 1 minute begins now.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Vugutsa, and I am from the University of Nairobi studying journalism and mass communication. I am glad to have the opportunity to tackle this very important motion, and I pray that you guys will go ahead, will go with me as I take you step by step through this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy. That was very brief and straight to the point. First speaker from the opposing side, is it Lord Luchiri or Njoroge Kamau?
My name is Joe Luchiri. Right now, an alumni of the Kakamega School, or if you like, the Government African School, Kakamega. And I'm here to strongly oppose this motion and to give some tutelage to our adversaries today that there are better ways than Kazi Mtaani. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very kindly. We go to the second speaker, the proposing team, Njoroge Kamau.
Good evening all. I am Njoroge Kamau. I am a student. I study law and accounting, and I am glad to be privileged to be here today, ready to break down what is required of us, and I hope that you shall follow.
Amazing. Let's go straight away to the second speaker, the opposing side, Eugene Kwizera.
Hello guys, I'm Eugene Kwizera from African Leadership University in Kigali. I'm doing international business and trade, and as Vugutsa prays, you guys go with her and her team. I pray that you wake up to the reality we'll be preaching today and just agree with us. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was actually, you people have been, I don't know whether you've been mean to yourself, but what is important that now we are getting straight into this topic of discussion. So because you've saved some time, let me just very quickly introduce someone here. Manoti, if you can hear me. Manoti is a beneficiary of Kazi Mtaani. Because you've saved some seconds here, you can allow him as a member of audience and also as someone working in the community. Just to tell us briefly when Kazi Mtaani began, what it has been doing so far, and how he has benefited from Kazi Mtaani. Manoti, if you can turn on your video, sir, or even your audio, so that you just take us through a brief, then we get back to the debaters with their 5 minutes each speaker.
Hi guys, I'm at home, but I'm happy to be joining the conversation tonight. Kazi Mtaani basically means it was a job for the guys who are living in the informal settlements. So in Nyeri, we were from the Majengo area, yeah. We were the youth who were affected by COVID. So Kazi Mtaani started last year somewhere in June in Kiambu before it spread to other parts of the world. I mean of Kenya. Sorry. So we started doing what we call it's a national hygiene program. That is it, but in the layman's language, Kazi Mtaani. So I can say it was meant to, number one, do hygiene in the community. Then number two, it was meant to provide employment to the youth as a result of the effects of COVID-19, you know, unemployment, yeah. So those were some of the main reasons I can say.
Thank you.
Being a beneficiary, I can say Kazi Mtaani has been paying us a stipend of 5,000 shillings. That one I can confirm for free that after every 11 days, we were being paid 5,000 shillings as a result of the work we were doing. It was going for 2 cohorts. We had cohort A, cohort B. In a month, you for each cohort you benefit one. So in a month you can say it was for only one phase of it. That's 5,000. Then for the work we were doing cleaning of the trenches. We were slashing, we were clearing bushes, you know, and also we were able to burn the garbage. So really you have been able to see what we have been doing.
Thank you.
But as it stands now, you have not been paid for the last 1 month. And if the state continues, we will be able to pack our things and actually go on a strike. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Manoti says that if payment is not done, this country will be disbanded and everyone will definitely go home. But anyway, Manoti, thank you so much. Now you can unmute. It was just important that for us, before we get into this debate, we must make this debate relevant by bringing someone who knows what Kazi Mtaani is, who has benefited from this Kazi Mtaani, so that when we are talking, we know what we are talking about. Now back to the debaters. Each of you is having now in this segment 5 minutes to give your presentation. First debater from the proposing side, your 5 minutes begin right now.
Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are the best way to solve joblessness. What is joblessness? It's simply the lack of having a job or the insufficiency of jobs. What is Kazi Mtaani? As we have been described to, we've been told, Kazi Mtaani is a national initiative that was designed to cushion the able-bodied people living in informal settlements from COVID-19. So the proposition today, we are here to tell you why it is the best way to solve joblessness. Kazi Mtaani we are talking about Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives. What initiatives are these? Initiatives that focus on the marginalized people of the society, initiatives that are going to directly impact people living in informal settlements, and as well, initiatives that are going to provide a specific skill set for a group of people. So, to my first point, initiatives that are going to provide opportunities for the marginalized groups. We know that youth are part of a marginalized group in the society, right? We've been complaining that a large percentage of youth are out of jobs, people don't have places of work. Well, Kazi Mtaani has come to give us a solution. How many jobs were created by Kazi Mtaani? How many in total? Over 26,000 jobs were created in the first phase of Kazi Mtaani. We are trying to solve joblessness. And this is the best way to do so because it has created many jobs. These jobs have been able to cater for over 200,000 youths in our country. We want to see unemployment go down. We want to see people getting these jobs. What the second point that I had was to provide a particular skill set for these people, right? Kazi Mtaani's second phase focuses on infrastructure. That is renovating buildings, repairing the old railway line, and as well road construction, right? We want a society where we're training the youth, giving them skills to keep them focused in what they're doing in life, giving them the ability to get some money to provide for their families. That is the whole point of looking for a job, that you can earn money to sustain your living in this country, right? And we're looking for solutions to help more of the people in the society to be included in the employment sector. How did we do this? By creating job opportunities through Kazi Mtaani. We're not solely focusing on Kazi Mtaani, but Kazi Mtaani is an example of initiatives that we are supposed to be taking. We not only have to focus on garbage collection, clogging of the drainages, or stuff like that, but we have to focus on initiatives that uplift the marginalized people of our community, and at the same time, initiatives that provide a particular skill set for a group of people. There is an example of public works that was done in India. It's called the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. It was started in India and it was able to solve unemployment that during that season when it was created. It created over 36,000 jobs for that specific country. Isn't that what we want? To reduce joblessness by creating jobs? That is the sole intention of us gathering here today. The Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are indeed the best way to solve joblessness in our country. As our fellow member clearly told us, they are earning 5,000 after working for 11 days. Isn't that the whole point of being employed? Employment means the state of being paid for work. And we want to have more youths engaged in the job sector and being able to earn after working for a period of time. Therefore, we should focus our attention on creating opportunities that, one, focus on the informal settlements, for example, Kibera, because that is where a large number of youths reside and where unemployment is really high, or lack of jobs, that is. Then we need to focus on areas where we need to focus on jobs that provide a specific skill set for a specific group of people. And that is exactly what Kazi Mtaani has done, especially in their second phase. Then we need to concentrate on employment of marginalized groups. This, I'm not only talking about the youth, I'm also talking about the disabled. That is also a marginalized group. Kazi Mtaani is just a specific example of tackling the marginalized group of the youths, right?
Okay.
So now
time is over, Mercy. Your 5 minutes over. You still have an opportunity later on even to shed more light on what we're talking about. On to the first speaker. The opposing side. Your 5 minutes begin right now. Is that Lord Luchiri? Lord Luchiri, okay, go ahead. Unmute yourself kindly, sir.
Okay, so greetings to you all again, and the first proposer, and I strongly disagree with Mercy, but first of all, let me just bring some light to this motion. We are talking about Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives being the best ways to solve joblessness. What is an initiative? When we talk of an initiative, we talk about an act or strategy intended to resolve a difficulty or improve a situation, a fresh approach to something. Now, what do we mean by joblessness? Joblessness in simple terms is unemployment. Now, maybe even Mercy do not know what do we mean by unemployment, and even if we have types of unemployment. Now let me enlighten her. We have types of unemployment in Kenya. Kenya is suffering from 9 types of unemployment. Look at frictional unemployment, where people lack jobs voluntary or involuntary. Look at structural unemployment, where population does not match qualification of jobs. We talk of manufacturing industries according to the economic survey done by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Talk about seasonal unemployment, where we have seasons, and maybe we can talk of climate, where I want a jacket, I can't sell them during hot weather. Talk about cyclical unemployment, where it is caused by decline of economic activities. Talk about casual unemployment, where it is caused by contract termination or maybe completion of intended purpose. Talk about classical unemployment, where an employer is not willing to pay a certain limit of salary to the employees put by maybe either the government or bodies like NAT. Talk about voluntary unemployment. Talk about technological unemployment, where people are rendered jobless because of technological advancement. Talk about chronic unemployment. That marks the 9th type of unemployment in Kenya. And talking of Kazi Mtaani going to solve this, Kazi Mtaani is just a drop in the ocean, and call them state handouts. They're nothing to do. They're nothing to do with solving unemployment in Kenya. Talk about, according to the data worldbank.org, in Kenya, 14.7% of Kenyans' working population are unemployed, with 60% of the youth unemployed. This amounts to 9.4 million Kenyans. Now, with 100,000 graduates graduating from our universities each and every year, how do we expect Kazi Mtaani to cater for them? No, I have a different thing and a better option and the best option. Now, let us look at Rwanda. We've been boasting about our economic prowess in the East Africa. Let us look at Rwanda. 1.4% unemployment rate, 4% of the youth unemployed. You see. Now, what have they done that we have not done? Rwanda has exhibited strong government leadership. That's what we've lacked. Now, this strong government leadership has played a very big role in this economic advancement in Rwanda. 8% economic growth each and every year from the year 2000. Now, Kenya, what do we have these quality leaders that are going to spearhead these projects? Right from our leadership, we have failed. Right from where we are with the spearheaders of this Kazi Mtaani, we have failed, because these youths have complained of this Kazi Mtaani being marred by nepotism and favoritism, and others have even complained that they were given this opportunity because they agreed that they are going to share half of what they are going to be paid, which I suppose is shillings 450 to 600 shillings. Now, these same youths have complained that politicians and chiefs have imported strangers from other areas to work in these places. Now, how are we helping? Because also I've seen, you're talking of youth now, I've seen old people doing these jobs. No, wow, I'm not saying that old people are not supposed to do jobs, but I'm saying that we are not able, our current leadership is not able to undertake our development projects. What we need is to elect good leadership, and that's where we'll start. That's where we'll start, because we cannot continue talking of delayed disbursement of funds from the controller of budget. No, we are tired of that. No, we need people that are going to be responsible in these issues. Now, what else is Rwanda doing? Rwanda has embraced a strategy called productivity investment in agriculture value chain, and agriculture has been very key in this economic advancement that they have experienced. Now, let us look at Kenya. Kenya that has great potential in agriculture. 57% of our country's GDP is being contributed by agriculture. And according to the Food and Agricultural Organization, over 70% of Kenya's rural population depends on agriculture for livelihood. Now,
no worries.
I've not even started yet, Mr. Pondo.
No worries.
I've not even started.
No worries at all. You've not started yet, but
Okay.
You'll get more minutes later. We are coming to another segment. You just plan your work well, then you'll address them. First speaker, the proposing side. Second speaker, the proposing side. That is the philosopher, the man from Kagumo, the law student from Nairobi University, Njoroge Kamau. Your 5 minutes begins now, right, sir?
So before I delve into the subject of what I am to talk about, I'd like to caution ourselves that there are a few things I've picked up, and that's the one to start with. Now, the first thing is a cautionary note to my friend Lord Luchiri that overeating is as dangerous as undereating. Now, what I mean by this is that we can feed ourselves with so much and lose what we are supposed to focus on, because a debate is supposed to be like a laser beam. We focus on issues. Now, I'd like him to go and look at the distinction that exists between joblessness and unemployment, because that is something that he quite clearly failed to capture in his first statement. Unemployment is not simply the lack of jobs, which is what we are talking about in this debate, the lack of jobs. Anything else beyond that, hidden unemployment and all that, is what will be defined as persona non grata in this debate. Having said that, it is also important for me to say that we should not fall into the temptation of throwing the baby with the bathing water. What do I mean by this? Yes, Kazi Mtaani has had its own huge bunch of shenanigans, but does that mean that it is not an effective way? I beg to disagree, because what we found is that we are not focusing on the value that a well implemented project can bring, but rather we are focusing on what we call the sanctions, the inefficiency that exists with it. We're not judging it by its merit, but rather by what I will call by the noises from the hearing, the noise instead of its merit. So what we are doing actually is actually engaging in what we say is a public relations exercise devoid of the merit of a program. Having said that, it is important for me to say that Kazi Mtaani is a nationwide project. What will I equate it with? I'd equate it with the New Deal in the 1930s in the United States of America. The world economy is undergoing, Kenyan economy is battered, the world economy is going through recession, and we are the same place where Frederick Delano Roosevelt was in 1933. And what we need are specific measures that can help us be able to overcome this challenge. And what did Frederick Delano Roosevelt do? Frederick Delano Roosevelt brought about the New Deal. Now, I would like to go straight into the New Deal and not beat about the bush and say that the New Deal 2 is very, very similar to Kazi Mtaani Part 2. What did the New Deal do? The New Deal focused on job creation, whereby it does not matter the quality of the job, the nature of the job, as long as you have a job and as long as it is government funded and it does not interfere with the role of the private sector, then we are going to do that. And that is what Kazi Mtaani has done. It has said we are not forbidding the private sector from creating jobs. However, we need to stimulate our economy in a manner that will provide jobs. And Kazi Mtaani and similar initiatives is what we are talking about. So this is all I'm talking about. In Kazi Mtaani, there's the skills that are used. There is entrepreneurship skills that are learned, financial skills, life skills, citizenship, national values. It is all there for the people to decide for themselves. Now, how do these help? Now, we are talking about programs that has been increased. One, to create jobs. By creating jobs, it means that you have increased the purchasing power of people. Now, that is a ripple effect of the economy. So we're talking about the ripple effect of Kazi Mtaani. Now, the ripple effect of giving more purchasing power is that the demand of goods increases. And with a demand for good, what means is that there is a demand for employment, which is a factor of production, to increase the production to meet the demand. An increase in labor or an increase in desired labor, it has effect. One, it ensures that more jobs are created. And two, people are better remunerated as they get the labor. That is what we are talking about. Look at the ripple effect of such a small initiative. Now, on the capital aspect, look at it this way. In the Kazi Mtaani itself, there are saving programs that have been kept there. These saving programs are what we shall be using to launch the ideas of young people. This is where we get the capital to start the business. We are not looking so much into, we need to look at the multiplier effect of Kazi Mtaani. We need to look at the multiplier effect of the New Deal. What did the New Deal do? It revamped and revived the banking industry of America in the 1930s. The JP Morgans, the Chase Bank, they were all going down. But such a simple initiative whereby you give people jobs in, jobs jobs to clean, jobs to revamp infrastructure. That is what we are simply talking about. Now, as I conclude, I'd like to say this way, that this Kazi Mtaani started as a health and sanitation exercise. Now, we need to know that health and sanitation is an important aspect of our daily lives. So what we are actually doing by making sure that the places we live are not only clean, but they are also healthy, is that we are bringing up our workforce and the people that are healthy. And a healthy nation is a healthy country and a growing country, and that is a prosperous country, helping us achieve the Bill of Rights, the rights that have been enshrined in the Bill of Rights. It's a win-win situation. Let's look at the merits and stop the sideshows.
Okay. Thank you. Your time is up. Well, that's quite amazing. That is the second speaker from the proposing side in support of Massive Vugutsa. Together they are saying that Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are the greatest cure or the perfect ways or the best solution to address the state of joblessness in the country. In the comment section already people are saying we cannot wait for the question session. Wow, people are ready for you. I don't know which team people are ready for, but I know people are ready for you. For the second speaker, the opposing team, that should be Eugene Kwizera joining us from Kigali, Rwanda. They're from the African Leadership University. Eugene, you can unmute yourself, sir, and your 5 minutes begin right now.
Okay, thank you for the first few speeches that we've had. Very interesting comments coming from people who live in Kenya, who experience the daily lives of Kenyans, and who see where this whole initiatives has come from and where it's heading, and yet can confidently stand and assert that it's helping Kenyans solve joblessness or unemployment. I'll leave Njoroge to define whether it's joblessness or unemployment, but let me focus on the real issue, which is that Kenyans are suffering because initiatives are being created to solve problems that are not there. The problem is that Kenya has a lot of resources. Kenya has a lot of people who are willing to work, but we are creating initiatives to hide away from all those resources that it has, that the government has refused to work on and improve so that people can maximize on them. My first speaker from my side spoke about industries. He spoke about the agriculture sector, a lot of areas that Kenya has very big advantages of, but Kenya is focusing on teaching people skills, while graduates from university with skills don't have jobs already, yet they are teaching people other skills. It's focusing on teaching people national values that the leaders who are teaching them those values, they lack themselves. And yet you're telling me that these initiatives in any way are here to solve the current problems that Kenyans have in the name of unemployment. Well, from the first speaker, Massive Vugutsa, we had the issue of that this is supposed to create a solution for the marginalized populations, which I agree with in the sense of marginalized populations are a very good group to focus on when it comes to such situations. But only problem is that they will stay marginalized with such programs because they are repetitive and cyclic. They do not solve the underlying problem of supply and demand, in that there's a lot of demand for jobs. But instead of creating jobs, people are creating distractions. There's no way you are paying somebody so-called marginalized, a Kenyan by birth, by citizenship, and yet you're paying him 20,000 a month to go clean a road, while somebody whom they voted for, who has not done anything in 5 years, banks 2 billion Kenyan shillings every month, and yet you're telling me that this program has been created to help somebody. That does not make any sense at all. Then there's also the issue of providing skill set, which I've mentioned. There's no way you can tell me that the answer to unemployment lies in creating skills, yet we have graduates year in, year out who go into the market and they have not found jobs, yet they have skills. So what answer does the whole issue of skills, what question does the whole issue of skills answer? You are coming to teach skills to the marginalized, while the so-called not marginalized still have skills, but they have nowhere to put them. And that's why I agree with what Lord Luchiri was saying, basically, that these programs and initiatives are not tackling the problem the way it's supposed to be. And I can say it's a good, at least it's an attempt to show us that these people still remember that there are people without jobs and such, but it does not really solve the problem at the grounds. Then we had also some very funny arguments from their second speaker, who argued mostly on the disparity between the meaning of unemployment and joblessness, while the real issue is here that still Kenyans are suffering because they can't provide for themselves, because the government eats while they fly their banner of initiatives which do not solve their current problems. And that's why we should go back to the whole issue of what's the problem? The problem is that there are a lot of people in Kenya, the population is rising, but these people are not productive. Why? Because because the government has not created avenues for it. They give them jobs to go work in the areas of infrastructure. That infrastructure, you are going to build a road, you are going to build a big mall. That mall, how will it trickle back down to the people in Kibera, that big mall, that big road? It will still be used and be benefited by the rich who have cars, the rich who can rent those malls. But if we go into serious, if we want to create employment, we must go back to the basics, whereby we deal with industries that are focused on production. And production means that if we produce our own things, the cost of life becomes cheaper. So even if you're paid a low amount of money, you can afford life. And how will you get that money? You'll have jobs, because all industries have been focused on, let's say, agriculture. If the government can actually remove all the unnecessary taxes it puts on people starting businesses in the agriculture industry, or even exportation, or even farming supplies, the fertilizer and all that, I believe if they focus on the real issue, which is on the production of industries and all that, that's how Kenya can make it out of the unemployment phase. Because China did not develop by China creating initiatives to help the marginalized Chinese people. No, they focused on production, they focused on industries, they focused on all holistic areas of the economy to create opportunities for people there to be productive, not coming to cover up their faces with, for example, the Kenyan government just coming to do a whole, campaign of we are creating jobs, yet they are stealing. How do you give 14 million to the Kazi Mtaani initiative, yet you steal 2 billion, which they have agreed on national camera that they steal every day, courtesy of Uhuru Kenyatta? So how do you come give you are stealing 2 billion? It does not make absolute sense, and that's why we oppose this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, every speaker, for this amazing round. Indeed, the debate is now hotter than what we had expected. Massive Vugutsa came in as the first speaker from the proposing team, then Njoroge, second speaker from the proposing team, Lord Luchiri, first speaker from the opposing team, then Eugene Kwizera, second speaker from the opposing team. And at this moment, I'll give 5 minutes to the members of the audience. Kindly, just raise your hand if you have a question to this panelist. Don't speak before you raise your hand, kindly. Let's just obey the rules of the game. If you're a sports person, you know what I'm talking about. Let's just obey the rules of the game. Raise your hand. The moment I see the hand up, I'll pick you, I'll unmute you, then allow you to bring your question. So as I still wait to see the hands, if you know how to maneuver around Zoom, you know the place where you can raise your hand. So as we wait for that, I'll also be reading comment from the Facebook page. The discussion is going on there, and quite amazing discussion going on there. It seems like there's another debate going on the other side that we are not part of. Josephine Flora says, how do initiatives like Kazi Mtaani help our graduates from the university become better in their various fields of expertise? For how long are we going to depend on emergency initiatives like Kazi Mtaani? We need proper planning to accommodate our many graduates, and this will only happen with a stable economy and sober government. She goes ahead to say, Kazi Mtaani is among the biggest scams our so-called government came up with. Joere, I trust you will do a good job in making our fellow Kenyans understand we deserve better than cleaning trenches. Boaz Ogala, that is Boazinho Ogala, says, Joere, you can't compare Kenya to Rwanda. We are far ahead. They are just doing things right, plus their population is small. The requester says, I'm loving the debate. Team Joel Luchiri, impressive start, powerful submission from Vugutsa. Boazinho comes back to say, Vugutsa talking about Kazi Mtaani focusing on infrastructure. Why don't they allow the university students apply for such so that they can practice their engineering skills? Who else is here? Derek says Kenya is ahead, but Rwanda's economic growth is ahead compared to the rate at which our economy is growing. Wilda says, I love your argument, Kwizera. I wonder why you don't love the debater. You love the point of the debater. Fantastic. Let me see the questions. Okay, Steve Mugo's hand is up. Steve Mugo, you can unmute and ask your question. If possible, bring your video to the screen kindly. Go ahead.
Well, my question will be,
right.
Yes, we've talked about Kazi Mtaani, and it's a good initiative, as Bonamanoti has said. But for how long is it going to sustain the youth? And for how long is it going to sustain we who are still in campus are waiting to come outside and people who have graduated already from campus are saying there are no jobs, there's nothing for them to do. Yet there is this so-called Kazi Mtaani. For how long is it going to sustain us?
Amazing. So I believe that is a question directed to the proposing team. Asante sana, you can now turn off the video. Let's go to Manoti. You're on the call, sir. Manoti.
What will be the youth be doing now if there was no Kazi Mtaani?
What will the youth be doing right now in absence if we didn't have Kazi Mtaani? Very well, that goes straight away now to the opposing team. I think that is very clear. Vincent Oruru, you are on the call, sir. Unmute and put on your video.
Let me try if video can do, but no I don't problem. Think.
Yes, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, my question is directly to Lord Luchiri.
Yes.
Yeah, he attacked the motion, but he doesn't give us any other options. Apart from Kazi Mtaani, give us other options to use. If you oppose that, then I appreciate Eugene. He has given us some options to use as opposed to the
as opposed to Lord Luchiri. Okay, that is very clear. Andrew Musyoka, you're on the call, sir. Andrew Musyoka.
Yes. I have a simple question. Let me describe a scenario to the proposers.
And very fast, kindly.
My brother comes from can be identified coming from a marginalized community, lives in an informal settlement, but by personal scholarship, he was able to get a scholarship and finished a 4-year course in economics and statistics. He needs an attachment so that he can finally finish his course. How then can Kazi Mtaani help such a person?
Thank you. I hope that is very well. Okay, now you can all lower down your hands. Amazing. So any other person, any other hand that is up that I haven't seen? Ivy Kerridge sent in a message, wonderful debate, how I wish that deliberations get to the ears and the eyes of policy makers. Ivy Kerridge, thank you so much. You're joining us from Narok County. Karibu sana ndani ya nyumba. So, any other question? Yes, Christian Musandu, your hand is up. You are on the call, Christian.
Okay. Yes, I do have a question.
Could you kindly turn your video?
Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I do have a question to both both teams have talked about Kazi Mtaani, but no one is talking about Kazi Mtaani and persons with disability. What happens to the persons with disability?
Okay. What happens to the people living with disability? Asante sana. Straight to the debaters. We start with the first proposer. That's the first speaker from the proposing side. Massive Vugutsa, you have 3 minutes to answer any question that has been raised to your side. You can pick one or two or all. Your colleague will come to emphasize, but you can also take this moment also to clarify something. But strictly 3 minutes. The first bell will ring at the end of the first 2 minutes. Let's take it. Massive Vugutsa, sorry. It seems you are struggling with unmuting yourself. Let me help. Massive Vugutsa. Okay, right, Mercy? You can unmute now.
I will respond to 2 questions that were posed to the proposition side. The question of what happens to the people with disabilities, and the second question was how Kazi Mtaani will help a graduate. Let's go back to the motion. The motion was Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are the best way to solve unemployment. Which kind of initiatives? Initiatives that target the marginalized people. We're not only focusing on Kazi Mtaani, we're focusing on initiatives that will help the disabled, will help the youth, will help the ladies in the society, all the marginalized groups, right? And we're not only looking at sweeping the roads and clogging drainages. No, we're looking for an opportunity for the government to create an opportunity that will take in the disabled, that will take in the youth, that will take in the ladies, that is the whole point of this debate. We're not only focusing on Kazi Mtaani. The debate is Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives. And at the very beginning, I told you that which kind of initiatives are these? Initiatives that focus on this and this area, which was the marginalized people, that focus on people from informal settlements. So that is the disabled will be taken care of if we allow the government to create opportunities. For example, the disabled can work with empowering other disabled. That is an opportunity that the government can create. It might not, it's Kazi Mtaani because it is found in the hood. An opportunity for the disabled to work on, let's say, sewing, or opportunities that the disabled, jobs that the disabled can actually do. Which initiatives are these? Initiatives that can take care of these marginalized groups. The second question was how Kazi Mtaani will help a graduate. Well, we're not only, I will strictly emphasize on the fact that we're not only looking at Kazi Mtaani, we're looking at Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives. Initiatives started by the government to take care of a specific group of people. So this graduate who has finished school is a youth, right? So we will look for the government to actually create an opportunity for this graduate. Let us not solely focus on Kazi Mtaani and cleaning drainages, because that, I believe, is what you are thinking about. We're thinking about opportunities that the government can create to tackle every single person in every single area, specifically the marginalized areas. So now we have a graduate who's finished. Yes, this graduate has the knowledge, has acquired the knowledge. Why can't this graduate start an opportunity of his own? Or if at all we're supposed to depend on the government, why can't you take into consideration the fact that this government has opportunities in road construction? Go apply for it. It is Kazi Mtaani, isn't it? Go apply for it and earn your money while you're busy looking for another opportunity. All in all, the government has created jobs, and these jobs have solved joblessness.
Thank you. Right on time. 3 minutes, actually you used 2 minutes, 58 seconds. Amazing. First speaker, opposing side. That should be Lord Luchiri. You have your 3 minutes to answer the questions and also to clear anything that you had not said earlier. First 2 minutes, then the bell will ring, then we head to the last 1 minute for you. So you have a total of 3 minutes in this segment. That begins just a moment. We have to do this. Okay. Lord Luchiri, you can unmute.
Okay, so questions have been brought to me that I think I answered. Someone said that I attacked the motion without giving solution and alternatives. But I remember talking about quality of leaders. I remember saying that our leadership quality has been low. We need the Lee Kuan Yews of Kenya. We need the Colonel Mohammed Gaddafi's of Kenya. We need the Vladimir Putin's of Kenya. Now, I also talked about agriculture. I don't know if the member of audience was listening to my argument, where I was saying that 51% of Kenyan GDP is contributed by agriculture, and also went ahead to talk about that according to Food and Agricultural Organization, that 70% of Kenya's rural population depends on agriculture for livelihood. Now, this amounts to 40% employment attributed only by agriculture. Now, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Kenya is a net food importer, with 1 out of 3 people suffering from food insecurity. Probably the way we are right now here, maybe massive Vugutsa is suffering from food insecurity. Now, over half of the country's poor spend their money, over 50% of money, on food. What am I trying to say is that we have great potential in agriculture, but we are not utilizing this potential to its fullest. We have not realized the latent potential of agriculture to our economy, because for a country that has been able to do percent of employment with agriculture alone, yet it is still a net importer. What if we try to export more than we import? What if we try to do something to invest this money that you're going to splash out in Kazi Mtaani, state handouts and stuff in agriculture, buy fertilizers, utilize these lands that lay unutilized? Now, I will go also to sports. If Massive Vugutsa is talking about 200,000 employment of people. Now, I want you to talk about what about the millions? 200,000 is not enough for us. I will talk about sports. Look at Europe, specifically UK, that millions of people are employed with by sports. Over 50% of these people employed by sports have completed tertiary education, which means that sports is able to cater for both skilled, semi-skilled workers. It is able to cater for both low level of attainment of education to high level of attainment of education. Now, look at this figure also, that over 50% of youth are employed in sports, which means that this is more than 2.6 times higher than the share of young people in total unemployment. Now, these are things that is able to provide a long-lasting solution. You're talking about right now going to earn money. Now, what about months from now? Where will I go to get money? Because very soon these people are going to run redundant. So what are we going to do about that? This Kazi Mtaani is just a temporary thing that is not going to provide a permanent solution. I want to tell the opposers, if you want to give us poison.
Time is up again. Time is up. Thank you so much, Lord Luchiri. It seems like you really came in this debate well prepared. But anyway, we keep on with the discussion. So we head to the second proposer. That is Njoroge Kamau. Njoroge Kamau, you can unmute and get straight into the discussion. Njoroge Kamau.
Oh, thank you. So I'll just tackle two questions that I can recall. One was on the sustainability of the project and also how it deals with university students. So clearly, when I talk about sustainability, it was clear for me that when I talked of Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives, they are not what I'd call something to be permanent. Though yes, they are to be enforced, they are to become an integral part of our labor force. They are not what I would call the what we can say is like a blueprint of how we are going to develop. It's a stopgap measure whose effect is to reduce joblessness and thereby through massive government investment, and thereby will help us to grow our economy. And I said it is such initiatives are mirrored towards what I call the New Deal of the United States of America, working between 1933 to 1941, and helped move the economy of America forward. So that is what we're mirroring on. Now, something that my colleagues who oppose do not seem to recall is that agriculture in and of itself is a capital intensive industry. Now, when we talk about that, it means that in the world that we're living in, agriculture in and of itself is minus labor, because what we're trying to do is that we're trying to create the optimum price for the market, because in an economy that is capital intensive, what you're trying to do is to reduce the amount of capital that is required. And how do you do that? You reduce the labor. So we have a mismatch of labor such that we have an industry that is not so keen on having as many people that can be employed. And that is where such government initiatives exist. Now, on the issue of whether, so it is easy for us to actually come and say that this has been working, but if we look at the realities of the ground, is that the labor and the capital forces do not allow such a situation to happen. That is also important for us to consider. Another thing that we should really look at and keenly is when we talk of abstract methods from other places, when we talk of sports, we are living, as I said earlier, as I started, we are in an economy that has been battered by COVID worldwide. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to actually come up with homegrown solutions to be able to retain our capital and at the same time try and ensure that people do have them as we await for the resumption of the post-COVID economy, whereby we can attract as many investors as possible. Because what we have been having now is a capital flight from the underdeveloped countries, from the global south to the global north. That is a world reality. And I also talked of what I call the value chain of Kazi Mtaani, which is what I was saying will address the people who have not been sorted out in Kazi Mtaani in and of itself. This is what I was saying, the multiplier effect is something that we should focus on as we look at what we are calling, as we look at the university students, because the multiplier effect is that they are going to be created more permanent and more high quality jobs in other sectors other than Kazi Mtaani. So Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are government's way of actually trying to solve the problem of job employment without encroaching on the private sector. So it's whereby we have two approaches to solve one thing.
Time is up.
That is what we are talking about. So we need to actually look at it not from the basis of the simple slasher and everything, but on the basis of the multiplier effect of such a program. That is where we hinge our arguments on. And also look at the capital labor.
Njoroge Kamau. Thank you, Njoroge Kamau. I'll send my Kazi Mtaani boys now to kick you out of the stage. But anyway, you will still have time to give your closing remark. So at this point, I want to give the debaters just a small break. Take your time, take your time. Think of the best way to convince us within 1 minute why we should believe that Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are the best way to address joblessness, or why we should believe that there are other better ways of addressing the state of joblessness. In the meantime, if we have Mr. Dennis on the panel, Mr. Dennis, that is from the Kakamega High School. If we have Mr. Masole also in the panel, then also if we have Mr. Mugwe in the panel, kindly you can, let me just see. I can give a moment each just to share a word with the debaters. These are people that you coached during their school days. Joe Were just cleared high school recently, but he feels and things like he did it like 10 or 20 years ago. Joe, welcome to the world. Njoroge, Massive Vugutsa, and Kwizera. The debate is on. So if they're still, okay, Mr. Dennis, if you can hear me, you can unmute and say a word. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do, Mr. Dennis, you can just turn on your video. Then I'll see once your video is on, I'll definitely unmute you from my side. Let me read some interesting comments from the Facebook page, because there's another interesting debate going on there. So Kelvin Apodo is saying graduates should stop the habit of graduating the mentality that the government will give them a job. Employment starts by employing the free time and passion they have. Debbie Reggie says it doesn't address the joblessness issues in the country. The people who are given the jobs are not youth. Remember that the youth nowadays have gone to college and university and have an area of expertise which is not catered for. Most of this Kazi Mtaani is more of cleaning trenches. What about the person living with disability? That is according to David Reggie. Then Kelvin Apod again says, Mercy has the point. What the opposing side do not understand is that the tagline Kazi Mtaani was supposed to cushion the youth from the adverse effects of the pandemic. The only focus should now be the sustainability of such initiatives. I just made sure that I'm reading a comment that is for the proposers, another comment that is for the for opposers, and another one for the proposers. Mr. Dennis, you can unmute yourself, sir. Say hello to these wonderful debaters on the panel.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Dennis.
Hello, everyone.
Go on,
yeah,
sir.
I'm liking the debate. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Yeah, I'm following the debate, and I really like the way the debaters are prepared and the kind of enthusiasm they are debating with. Wishing the best team best of luck. Thank you.
Asante sana mwalimu, and thank you for joining us. That is Mr. Dennis all the way from Kakamega School, Kakamega High School. Okay, so any other person? Do we have Mr. Masole or Mr. Mugwe from Kagumo? Okay. To the debaters, first speaker, the proposing side. So first speaker, the proposing side, this is your final chance to convince us that Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are the best ways to address unemployment. Mercy Vugutsa, we start with you. You can unmute, Mercy. Your 1 minute begins now.
From the very beginning, this debate has taken so many times. But our major focus has been that Kazi Mtaani and such initiatives are indeed the best way to solve unemployment. We have mentioned that they're temporary. We have mentioned that they're not long lasting, but I'm here to tell you that they have reduced joblessness. It is the best way to solve joblessness. It is the best way to create opportunities for youth who are looking for work to do before they get into as they are looking for formal employment. When you look at statistics, we are told that majority of the people in Kenya grow through the informal sector of employment. And that is where our focus is on right now. Kazi Mtaani and other initiatives that the government is supposed to come up with are initiatives that will tackle the informal sector because it is growing faster, very fast, and majority of us youth need to focus our energy on that. What will these initiatives do? They will come up and they will be able to solve the problems that exist in the health sector, in the agricultural sector. Youth can go and work in farms and still be paid by the government.
Time is up. Thank you, Massive. Vugutsa, all the best in this debate. First speaker, the opposing side, Lord Luchiri. Okay, Lord Luchiri, fine, go ahead.
I'm very much in pain because, Kazi Mtaani is something that we should be doing out of goodwill, not to be paid. I think it should be something that we're supposed to do like the Ujamaa in Tanzania. We just come together, sweep our roads, or we come together, build dispensaries because we have the resources, because we are employed. It's not something that we are going to hide there in the name of employment. I want to tell the opposers, if you want somebody to drink poison, at least try to find a classy cup so that you can drink from it. When you bring poison to us in a ragged and stinking cup, we can't take it. And today we've refused to take the poison that you're giving us. It is a ticking time bomb and it will explode soon. I rest my case.
Joel rest his case there. Asante sana Joel, the second speaker from the proposing side, Njoroge Kamau. Njoroge Kamau, sorry, Njoroge Kamau. Go on, Njoroge Kamau. You can unmute.
It is important for us to follow the word Kazi Mtaani that begs us to move from our utopic academic worlds to the Mtaani itself. And the reality of the matter is that there is a lack of jobs. Unemployment can only be solved by a good, stable economy. Can Kazi Mtaani and similar initiatives bring us to that? Yes. Has it been tested and proven? Yes. Can we reduce joblessness by Kazi Mtaani? Yes. I rest my case.
Thank you. Eugene Kwizera. Eugene Kwizera from Kigali. You can unmute. Is Eugene here with us?
Yeah, let me unmute. I'm having a little problem with my network, but can I start my 1 minute now?
Yes, but Eugene, before we go on, did I give you a 3 minutes really?
Apparently you didn't, so it.
No,
I
please,
don't want to interrupt.
No, sorry, sir. I think I was just overtaken. People are talking on this panel so passionately. I am so sorry. You have your 3 minutes first, then you do your 1 last minute because it doesn't change anything anyway.
It's okay. I'll just combine the two.
Thank you.
I'll combine the two and I start right now. So let me answer the most important question that has been, actually there are just two questions that have been asked that I feel if answered, maybe they can give rest to a lot of people in this debate. And one of those questions is, what happens to people then if there's no Kazi Mtaani? Very big question and very important. If there's no Kazi Mtaani, then what happens to people? And for me, the answer is one. Why should we need Kazi Mtaani in the first place? Why should we need Kazi Mtaani in the first place? When literally, when you are born, like we are all humans and equal under God. So why should some people require some special programs for them to make it in life, while others, it's just a ride to the park and they've reached their destination of enjoying life? Why should some other humans, for them, they're given programs and initiatives to help them survive instead of living a normal, comfortable life? Why? And that's the question that I ask. And we shouldn't at all. And that's the failure that we make as Kenyans generally. When we start thinking in the mindset of, we need these initiatives, without it, we cannot survive. No, in the first place, we don't need such initiatives. We just simply need the whole, and this also answers another question, like the youth, what we need is for the government to play their role. And here I'll be answering the question of the person who asked, like, The youth should not blame the government. People have skills, these graduates, they should go put those skills to use. Bro, when you're about to start a business, you need two things: to register that business, and you need capital. The government controls the interest rates at which you can get a loan to start that business. The government controls the laws and requirements of how you can register your business. So please don't you make the mistake of saying that we cry too much about the government. We cry too much about the government because literally we've given them the power to control to an extent of whether we make it in this life or not. And therefore they have a huge role to play. And therefore, if they play their role properly, lower the interest rates so that people can access money to start businesses and also invest in industries, not blind initiatives that are meant to just give us a dose every day to keep us forgetting of the actual issues that we face. If they invest in such, then people will have a lot of avenues. Lord Luchiri mentioned a very important thing that most of you are forgetting: the fact that unemployment cannot be solved by a program that helps people go deal with building the roads and the malls and infrastructure that will benefit the few. No, unemployment can only be solved if a holistic approach is taken, when they take the right investment into sports, so that those who are talented can go into sports, into industry, so that when there's more production, there's a cheaper way to afford things, and also people can work in these production companies. And that's how I can answer those questions. And maybe now, on my finishing remark, I'd like to reiterate and say this: Kazi Mtaani is a cute initiative. It's like religion. It will give people hope. But at the end of the day, if you ask for physical proof, if you ask for physical impact, you'll not see none. But in the mindset, we'll have that hope, like everybody who does well and hopes to go to heaven, that at least I'll not die hungry, because at the end of the week, I'll get 500. At the end of the day, I'll get 500 shillings, and this can keep me going. While your rights as a human being on this planet, you should be getting more than that. And how can you get more than that? Not through that blinding grace, but rather through the whole issue of the government taking it up and investing in the right areas, and also eliminating corruption, so that everybody can get what they deserve in a fair country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kwizera. That is Eugene Kwizera, the second proposer of this motion. And because Mercy was the first proposer, then Kwizera the second proposer, Luchiri the first opposer, Njoroge Kamau the second opposer. Christine, I would ask that you turn off your video kindly, so that we just have the debaters only on the screen. Fantastic. So when we began this debate, we said very clearly that in a debate, we come to challenge each other intellectually. If by any good chance you make someone changes their mind, the better. Recently, I was reading an article by Dambisa Moyo. Dambisa Moyo is a renowned economist in Africa and across the world. He has worked with the International Monetary Fund, and also worked with a couple of banking institutions. And because she's also known for one of the best books called Dead Aid, Dambisa Moyo says that when doing public speaking, and I'll write just her words, when doing public speaking, when debating, don't try to embarrass the person you are speaking to. Our speakers here have done an amazing job. We are not doing it to embarrass each other. Number two, show that you have listened to what they are saying. I've liked the fact that all of you have been speaking to each other. I've had people responding to each other on what the speaker said before. Number three, demonstrate that you respect their point of view. We are doing that with a lot of respect. Then number four, if someone changes their mind, do not scold them for not agreeing with you at all. After all, if their opinion has been altered, they have achieved something you have not. Debaters, that is what all of us have achieved here. We cannot debate forever. We want now to leave it to those who are viewing back at home, wherever they are, whether they're joining us from Kenya, different parts of this country, whether they're from the coastal region of this country, to the northeastern, to the Lake Basin area, to, Western Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, everywhere. We are now letting this debate to you. Keep on debating at the comment section that is in Facebook. I see a lot of comments coming on. We cannot keep reading all these comments, but I also like to challenge all the debaters. That is Massive Vugutsa. I know you have a Facebook account. Go straight there, because there are people already asking questions directed to you. Njoroge Kamau, proceed and answer those questions. Lord Luchiri, do the same. We have Eugene Kwizera. You can also go ahead and answer those questions. But for now, allow us bring this debate to an end. We are meeting again next week. Same time, that is 8 p.m. And because next week on Tuesday, there's a day that is called the African Day, the 25th day of May. On Thursday, we'll be having one of the most controversial topics as a motion of discussion. You know, you've all heard of this idea of a united Africa. Some people say this is an idea that is so far-fetched away that can never be achieved. Some people are saying by a certain period, Africa must be one, under one, maybe one government, under one military, under one bank, and all that. So the motion of the day will be that a united Africa is a far-fetched idea that will never, we will never achieve as the people of Africa. The motion states that a united Africa is a far-fetched idea that will never be achieved. Next week, if you'd like to participate in this debate, you know how we recruit people on the team. Comment at the Facebook comment section, that is Company Voices, and also those who we interact through other platforms. Let's keep the debate going on and on. Otherwise, I'm wishing all of you a better, happy weekend, because today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. And of course, we meet again next week. Same time, I've been your host, Okotho Pondo. To all the entire debating team, we wish you all the best. Someone is asking who won. We don't debate to win. We debate to change people's perceptions and also to keep educating the public. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Mercy, Luchiri, Njoroge Kamau, and Eugene Kwizera. Mbaki poa. See you again next time.